Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP Diamond Dallas Page. And you, monkey, you're listening to the Potsy and Tino show. And that's not a bad thing, monkey. That's a good thing. Bang!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Potsy and Tino show. I am going solo tonight, as you can see. Tino, unfortunately, is under the weather, has no voice, so he may show up in the chat at some point. But as of right now, I'm going to say that we are going in alone tonight, and it's just going to be me here with you. So hopefully you're okay with that. We'll start, as always, by stating that our theme song, as always, is brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Thank you to Diamond Dallas Page for that nice little intro for the show. And we always start the show with something called What's Up With You? And I got to be honest, there's not a lot going on with me. For those that do know, my job is a temp job with NC State, or not NC State, but the state of North Carolina. And because of that, I'm trying to get it to become a permanent job, and there's a possibility that might be coming in the near future. So wish me luck there. Hopefully things go well. We'll see how it goes. Other than that, was at a Comic-Con this weekend, the first ever Friends of the Brothers Boyd Con. The Brothers Boyd are YouTubers that are huge into the local comic book scene, read comics and discuss them on their YouTube channel, but they also are just really cool people. So that show was this weekend on Saturday from 11 to 4. It was a great time. Love those guys. So already told them that, like Joe Hendry, if you say my name, I'll appear. So there we go with that. The plan for tonight's show, just so everyone knows, is to go over the results of both NXT No Mercy and WWE's Bash in Berlin, as well as hey, what's going up, Michael? If you missed it, I just said that Tino is out sick this week. He might show up in the chat with you guys, but I told him because his son has a football game on Thursday night that will be going live without him, and just kind of going over the results of the pay-per-views or PLEs, the premium live events, as well as discussing the current card for AEW's All Out, which right now I believe only has 5 matches. And so we'll give predictions on that, as well as what we anticipate seeing in terms of other things going on, because Tony Khan, I don't think, has ever done a pay-per-view with only 5 matches on the card. So Bash was pretty good. I completely agree. But I was just talking about how I was at a brand new comic convention this weekend. The floor was full of people. So it was great to see. Havelock, North Carolina hadn't had a Comic-Con before, so it was nice seeing them actually have one. And from such great people like the Brothers Boyd, it was a great time had by all. We all went out to dinner the night before, and then even the night of or after the show, we all decided to grab some dinner because there was supposed to be some weather and stuff going on that people might have had to drive through, so they waited until that had all subsided. And then I watched Notre Dame play Texas A&M. For those that don't know, I'm a huge Notre Dame football fan. Don't really care about a lot of other sports. The only other sport that I really care about is probably Carolina Hurricanes hockey. But I am a huge Notre Dame football fan. So throughout the season, you'll probably get a little tired, of hearing me talk about them, considering Tino is not a Notre Dame football fan. I believe he's an ECU and Carolina fan. So we've got that we don't have in common. Notre Dame ended up beating Texas A&M in probably what was the best game of the weekend, except maybe the USC LSU game, which ended with former Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly on the losing end of his game. So, one of the things I'll say about, like, just like with wrestling and how wrestling fans have a bias one way or the other, and obviously you guys know that I prefer the WWE's product, but can still sit there and talk nicely about matches that have gone over well, like the Swerve and Danielson match, or even the Osprey and MJF match from All In. But ESPN recently has been dogging Notre Dame football for a couple of reasons. Paul Feinbaum, who is an SEC, I mean, there's no nice way to put what he is for the SEC. He is just he's got his mouth all over the asshole of the SEC. But ESPN has normally played nice with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and this time, like, Notre Dame beat an SEC team, a top 20 ranked team in the nation, beat them on their home turf where there were 107,000 people in attendance. And it was a raucous crowd. It was extremely loud. It was very difficult for the players to hear the plays being called and keep communication levels where they needed to be. But ESPN stated that Notre Dame survived their football game, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think their defense dismantled the Texas A&M offense. You don't have the opposite quarterback go 12 of 30 with 2 interceptions and no touchdowns and say that your team survived. Their defense was insanely good on Saturday night. Their offense did take a little while to get rolling, but when it did, they scored 2 touchdowns on the ground, a 47-yarder and a 21-yarder. So it wasn't like they weren't getting big plays. And they got the big plays when they needed them. So ESPN saying that they survived is kind of a misnomer there, and I take a lot of or I give a lot of negative feelings towards that. So, what is up, Tino Gray? I see that you're in the audience tonight. I'm just talking about college football. I know that some local teams won their first games. NC State looked good in their first game. I think Carolina did not look as good from what I saw. So there's that. And Tino, for you being in the audience tonight rather than in attendance here with me on the show, I am getting ready to talk about the results of the 2 PLEs from WWE, as well as a look towards NXT's future. Obviously tonight, Monday Night Raw is going on from Denver, Colorado, and I will try to go over as much as we know about the AEW. You want? Oh, you want in? I'll send you the invite. Tino said he wasn't going to be here tonight, folks, but I guess he wants to be here. So I will get him the link, and we will have our regular show. If my Facebook will let me copy and paste these things. There we go. Tino, you have the link. You are more than welcome to join. And I will give him just a minute to hop on here, folks. I'd already told everybody that you're not feeling well tonight, Tino, so I guess we're not going to be on super long.
I probably won't stay on long, as you can hear. I just wanted to say, hey, I felt bad that I couldn't be here. So I just wanted to pop in and say, that's bright.
And now your antibiotics are messing with your eyes.
No, my antibiotics is for
for your elbow,
thing. Yeah. And it was swollen. It was like it was swollen, and they had to drain it.
I'm surprised they didn't actually stick a needle in with the antibiotics on something like that.
No, they had to let it drain. I don't know what it is. So they stuck it, they let it drain, and they gave me the antibiotics because it's warm, so it's infected. So I got that. So between that and I woke up Friday sick. I've taken 3 COVID tests, so it's not COVID. I guess it's just a head cold. And now everything's freaking draining. So this is what I got.
Gotcha.
So what's up, Michael Turner? So like I said, I probably won't be on long. I just wanted to come in and be like, what's up?
Well, I mean, if you want to sit on camera with us, you're more than welcome to do that too, and not do a lot of talking. I don't think anybody's gonna mind the way the show always goes, which is me doing all the talking anyway.
True. That's true.
So obviously you're not feeling well. Anything else you want to say about what's up with you at this time, or?
Like I said, just being sick. I was just being sick, trying to get my strength back, and then this shit happens. So between that and between the antibiotics and the shit I'm taking for the cold, I'm pretty high.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I kept trying to think. Nothing much really going on.
Do you see a time where we have celebrity coaches on the sidelines as NIL money increases TV right prices? So no, I don't see anything like that. I think you are starting to see celebrity coaches like Coach Prime out in Colorado, but he obviously was a football player and came up through the college coaching ranks quite quickly. But no, I don't think that we'll see anything like that. As I actually take your question seriously, because it looked like an actual interesting question. I think what you might see with NIL money and everything getting bigger is you'll see more of those celebrities invited to the sidelines of a lot of these games, because they are, they are fans of college sports as well as pro sports. So I mean, obviously, when Monday Night Football knows that someone's in attendance, they go ahead and they make sure that they put them on camera. So, like the whole Taylor Swift fiasco with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I mean, that obviously you even see that in the WWE recently. You see a lot of the NBA basketball players have been showing up recently. A bunch of hip hop artists have been showing up recently in the audience. And then you have people that have just been super fans of them for a long time, like Joe Manganiello, Hugh Jackman. Those guys show up in the audience from time to time too.
But I think that's just more for it gets more eyes on your product.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you have something like when Hugh Jackman punched Dolph Ziggler in the face, right? Or obviously probably the biggest ones recently would be like Jelly Roll showing up and actually doing the 5-knuckle shuffle, or San Benito, Bad Bunny showing up and actually like wrestling in 2 matches. I think that, and that's always been, the Logan Paul effect as well. You have a bunch of that stuff out there because they're super fans, but when it can be mutually beneficial for both sides, let Logan Paul sign a contract to work for the WWE, because he's a great brand ambassador outside of the product as well. I mean, heck, Bad Bunny, the reason why they even brought him in with WWE was because he did the song for Booker T. Mm-hmm. And, and then all of a sudden, like they had Booker T at the Royal Rumble that year, and they had Bad Bunny sitting there singing the song to get him in there. And then, like, I watched the Damian Priest, documentary, and he sits there and they were like, hey, so we're gonna bring this guy in, San Benito, and he's like, guys, there's already a San Benito out there, and it's like, yeah, we know, that's who we're bringing in, and he's like, oh, and they were like, oh, we didn't think you knew who it was, and he's like, I'm Puerto Rican, of course I know who he is. So I just thought that was hysterically funny, but like Logan Paul was the U.S. champion in WWE for I don't know how many months, but while we didn't see him necessarily on WWE television, he carried that U.S. title everywhere with him. So and that was probably the least prestigious title that WWE had for years. So
I don't know. Oh, the United States, yeah. I think Cena elevated it when he had it. He was doing all those. I think that's the last time it was like big like that.
yeah, because I mean, like Cena ended up losing it to Kevin Owens, and then after that, it just kind of fell off again. And it's always been the least special of the titles. I mean, I guess when Austin Theory cashed in Money in the Bank for it against Seth Rollins, they were trying to build the prestige of that title by putting it on Seth.
I always say they should do something like an option C for the Intercontinental and a US belt, since they're on a different brand. So you can, I'm gonna trade it in for a shot at the world title, and then they have a tournament, and that way they can keep shit fresh.
You know, it's an interesting concept, and I do like it. I like it more for like the NXT brand though. So like the North American Championship, trading that up for a shot, because that's where you're learning and building, right?
Mhm.
I think that a title that has been around as long as the United States title or the Intercontinental title, if you were to do something like that, you kind of diminish their value a little bit. Now, at the same time, I like when that wrestler gets the opportunity at the world title, like just because, you know, like idealistically, the Intercontinental title should be the number 2 guy on the show, right? But it was always looked at as the working man's championship.
So that's what I'm saying. So, and I guess the US strap in WCW, that was okay. This is the next guy. That's
Supposed to be, yeah.
Champion, right? So that's why I think they should do something like that.
It'd be an interesting consideration. I like how WWE is now using the King of the Ring for that, where that person gets a championship match, similar to the Royal Rumble.
They've always done that though. Ever since I can remember. So a lot of those King of the Ring winners went on to be the champion. Austin.
Well, you're right. They went on to become champions, but Steve Austin didn't win the champion. Didn't even get a championship match after winning the King of the Ring. He went immediately into a feud with Savio Vega.
And like your Bret Hart's, I guess now the way they're using it, kind of like, it's like Money in the Bank. If you win King of the Ring, you got an automatic, yeah.
Now, what I like more about the King of the Ring win or the Queen of the Ring win is the fact that it's a set match at SummerSlam. It's not you're able to cash it in when you want. Because if they did that kind of diminishes the Money in the Bank as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I don't know. They're hitting on all cylinders right now. So I guess, like if they decided they wanted to do something like that, it would make a lot of sense, but they don't have to.
Mm.
Obviously, like they give whoever they want a title shot whenever they want to give them a title shot. They like Jinder Mahal coming back after not wrestling for so long, and then all of a sudden getting a match against Seth Rollins. Now that UFC and WWE have merged, do you see someone like Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar being bridges between? So I think what you'll probably see here. This is a really good question.
Did you see the rest of it?
Or Conor McGregor versus Sheamus, or Holly Holm versus. So this is where I think you're going to see this. I think you're going to see people who realize their UFC careers are nearing an end, and they might only be 35 years old, so they still have plenty of time, and they'll have name recognition at that point. So could I see a John Jones show up in the WWE at some point? I would say yes, but I would say after he finishes his career with the UFC. I don't really see them doing cross platforming too much. Now, obviously, when they were having their NXT PLE at the UFC Apex, which is kind of like their performance center, when they did it at the Apex, they did some cross branding where they showed a bunch of UFC fighters in the audience and whatever. But I think that's probably the furthest you want to see that go, and I think it's because they really are keeping them separate. The brands, like Dana White gets asked about like the documentary, and he goes, "You got to talk to Hunter about that." He doesn't want to touch it. He doesn't want to do anything with it. He leaves it all alone. And people don't really ask Triple H or Nick Khan about UFC stuff, but the idea is so someone like Conor McGregor, I don't think you'll ever see him in a match unless they can pay him enough money to do it. Because Connor's one of those guys that is worth $80 million right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's kind of like the Floyd Mayweather match that they did at WrestleMania against the Big Show was because they paid him $20 million. You know, and when they did that, they weren't paying their own wrestlers $20 million. So the idea that they were paying him $20 million to show up, or at least that's the number he stated, it might not have actually been $20 million, but it could have been. You know, that was after his boxing career pretty much ended. You know, he came back for a couple more fights after that, but he had already said he retired at that point. Someone like Connor, I don't see it, but I do see some of these guys, you know, like Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle made the transition from UFC over to WWE. Unfortunately, when they merged, he immediately got fired. So it was kind of weird how all that happened. Obviously, he didn't end his UFC career on a high note, so that's where that ends. But I don't think you'll see a lot of WWE wrestlers in the octagon either. I think that how they're built and how they're structured is, you know, it's very similar to when Kurt Angle was talking about WWE wrestlers. You know, when he came from an amateur background, it was all about staying off your back, and you know, then he's immediately learning to take flat back bumps. You know, so it's a completely different animal. It's a different beast. But there are some people that make the transition and do it well, but they have to commit themselves to it, just like anything else. I think they've kind of done some of that, but I think as long as the WWE is running the way that it's running and it's beating all of its records, you know, there was talk that Triple H would be let go after the merger was completed, you know, and they do technically have weight classes. You know, they do have the cruiserweight division, and then they have, you know, but part of the mystique of the WWE is when they do have that small guy like a Rey Mysterio go up against a Braun Strowman. So your questions are awesome. I don't really see it as too much of a possibility. And while the business is running as hot as it is, introducing something like that would really change the dichotomy of what's known right now. So if they try to go a little bit more legitimate, maybe. And I think that your question about going to weight classes, if you actually look at the people that were in the WWE Speed tournament, they were all smaller guys, right? So I kind of see that being a possibility too. This week, by the way, the women's speed tournament starts, so that'll be interesting to see who they actually push in the WWE Speed women's tournament. Want to go over some results of the shows from this weekend, Tino? So great questions there, by the way. Hopefully you follow the show and you follow the channels, so that way, you know, if you come up with other good questions like that, you can always come back and talk to us. So I know that No Mercy happened after Bash at Berlin, or Bash in Berlin, sorry, but I think it's still more important to talk about it first because it is the developmental. So based on the results for the show. Go ahead.
You have it?
Yeah, I've got it. So just like when Tino and I were talking about, the first match of the night was Zach Wentz versus Wesley. And we basically had agreed that the winner of this match would determine the winner of the main event. And it, in my eyes, I think it did. Zach Wentz went on to beat Wesley. His finishing move, that like top rope jump up cutter, like, is nasty. That move is nasty.
It kind of reminds me of the Soul Roka, but she does it from the middle rope, the Soul Snatcher. But that's what it reminds me of. But he did from, like you said, the top turnbuckle. That thing, yeah.
One major takeaway from this match that I saw, Tino, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Zach Wentz looks like if he had stayed in NXT, because he was the one that was with Wesley before, right? And I noticed that the commentator at one point brought up his that doesn't look like whoever he was in NXT, because he had a different name in NXT, obviously. I kind of felt like he looked unpolished, whereas Wesley looked very polished. And I think that's because when you're working just indies, and that includes Impact or TNA, you do notice a difference between when you're in the WWE system for a long period of time versus someone who's just now getting that exposure again. So
it was still a good match, but yeah, you can tell the difference between the two. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there were definitely some spots where like he had to wait or he wasn't exactly sure, so he had to. You could tell that Wesley was calling the match. There were times that the camera angles actually showed him speaking to Zach Wentz, and it's like, okay, I get it, but again, developmental. Good match though. I would say a good B+ match here. You could definitely tell that Wes is getting into this new character that he's got, where he really wants to play that role of the heel, and he's doing a pretty good job at it. And I thought that unlike most of the matches where you see brother versus brother, and I know they're not actual brothers, but they had been a tag team for so long, I noticed that when they played these two know each other so well thing, very well. And then when they finally did start hitting on their moves, like, it was a hard hitting match. So I was very impressed by it. I thought they did a great job. And then of course bringing in the third rascal to be the catalyst for why Zach Wentz was able to hit that finisher and get the win was also a nice move. I don't know how TNA probably felt about Wesley picking up the X Division title and throwing it, though. They might be a little upset at that, because he decided instead of bringing that into the ring, he brought a chair instead. So,
yeah.
Got another comment in there. After your wrestling rundown, I have a question about comic book writing and your thought process. Okay, so we'll try to make sure that there is time for that. Next match up on the NXT card was the North American Women's Champion Kalani Jordan versus Wendy Chu. By the way, Zach Wentz winning that match, I don't think either of us called. I think we both said that Wesley was going to win that match. This match, I called Kalani Jordan, you called Wendy Chu. Kalani Jordan comes out on top. Wendy Chu looks good through the match, though, and we're definitely seeing a lot of work put behind Kalani Jordan with this. I think that she's coming into her own. She looked a little hesitant at the beginning of the match, but as the match sped up, it really went well, and obviously went her way. She maintains the championship. But we did get Tatum Paxley showing up at the end to basically
Dragon Sleeper.
Yeah, Dragon Sleeper on Wendy. So she put the sleeper to sleep. And then she left like a Barbie doll.
Well, that's her gimmick, because when she was chasing Kalani Jordan, she had a Kalani Barbie doll. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's almost like a voodoo doll, I want to say, but whoever she's facing, she makes a doll.
Gotcha.
Or whoever she's going after, she makes a doll, which makes me think she's going after Wendy Chu now.
And it works. It works for them. So, North American champion Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo. I went with Obafemi. You went with the Don. Obafemi comes out on top.
Damn it. I mean, I love Obafemi, but I was hoping, he'd drop it and move on to the main title. You know what I mean?
Did you hear that crowd chanting Oba the entire match?
He's over. He is over, and he's supposed to be heel, but I think they're gonna train him face because people aren't booing him.
I would love to see, and I know he doesn't do this very often, but I would love to see Booker T versus Obafemi, only because Booker T during the Wesley match kept saying the best North American champion of all time, Wes Lee, and he kept saying it. So I want to see Obafemi get in Booker T's face about that comment, because Obafemi is quickly becoming the greatest North American champion of all time. And there have been good ones. There, obviously you had Ricochet, you had Johnny Gargano, you had Keith Lee actually not only win that title, but then go on to become the champ by winning the NXT championship from Adam Cole. But this match, okay, this is what they did with this match. They had Obafemi go over, but if Tony D'Angelo wasn't over before this match began, he was over by the time this match was over because they talked him up massively. And the fact that he was actually doing power moves to Obafemi was very impressive because Obafemi is a monster.
And that's the thing. You lose sight of that when standing next to Obafemi. He does look like a Rey Mysterio. But Tony D's a big dude. And when he came back from injury or when he was supposed to be in jail, he got bigger. So he's a big dude.
Totally agree. In fact, I hope Ridge Holland's the next guy that goes after Obafemi because that's just power on power. NXT Women's Champ. Oh wait, no, they left out the Chase U match.
Didn't Chase U start or did?
No, Zach Wentz and Wesley.
They were after that.
Yeah, so I don't know why Chase U's not. Maybe they didn't put him on here. So, and this is the WWE's website leaving this match off the results page. Chase U, Ridge Holland, and Andre Chase versus Axiom and Frazier, and you were right. They went back to Axiom and Frazier with the tag titles. There was some real.
I didn't see the turn though.
The turn? Oh,
yeah.
That you wanted to see.
No, I didn't see. I didn't foresee. Did I say Rich was going to turn?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. I'm high. I'm sorry. It's the cold meds.
Yeah, because didn't. Oh wait, no. Pete Dunne came down later in the night.
Yeah. No, it was he just. So they because it was Andre Chase that took the pin, right? Andre Chase took the pin, and I'm wondering. I want to know. They'll probably do it Tuesday. Why did he flip? Why did he get mad? Like, fuck you guys, you know?
I don't remember, and I watched it today. So
I did too.
So NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez beats Jada Parker, and this match went down just like I said it was going to. Roxanne Perez gets the win, and I even said maybe it's time we see someone like Julia show up. And Tino, what happened?
I don't remember you saying Julia.
Yeah. I said maybe it's time for because you said it's time for Roxanne to drop the belt, and I said well, because you also asked, well, if they don't have her drop the belt, who she go up against after that? And that's when I said someone like Julia would make sense. Mm-hmm. And they bring Julia out. She's formerly of Stardom. She was.
I'm surprised they let her keep her name.
All ego Ethan Page.
Yeah.
It's a different WWE at this point. Joe Hendry is not going to be Joe Hendricks when he comes in.
It'll be Doc's son. Have P.S. Michael Hayes come out with it.
But Roxanne Perez playing the role of heel here was great. The thing so going back to the Chase U match, there was some really bad commentary in there. What's his name who does the commentary for NXT? Not Booker T, obviously, but
I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
He sat there during the match and he said it's only the second time Andre Chase and Ridge Holland have actually tagged together, and because of that, the one time that they won the tag titles. Mm-hmm. About 2 minutes after he said that, he said on commentary, he goes, "These two teams know each other so well. You can't have it both ways."
Well, I think he meant that Chase U kind of as a unit. I don't think he meant, because they were with the Andre Chase and the other dude,
Duke.
the MVP dude,
Duke,
and then and then they wrestled Duke and Riley. So they've wrestled all iterations of them, but I think this is the first time they wrestled. No, this is the second time they wrestled. So yeah, they've wrestled all iterations of Chase University. That's probably what he meant. It came out stupid. But that's probably what he meant.
Sure. Roxanne hits a pop rocks outside the ring. It looked devastating. And then they did she did another one and ended up winning the match. Then Julia comes down. I didn't like the interaction between them. I thought Julia was fine, but Roxanne looked at her and then suddenly started smiling.
I don't think she was smiling. Well, I think because it's psychology. If you watched it, I know what you're talking about. Julia is coming down. They pan back. What's up, Helios? They pan back to Roxanne in the ring, scared. They go back to Julia. They come back. Now Roxanne is hugging the belt. So I think by the time Julia gets in her face, she's still kind of, but then she's like, oh shit, I'm a bad at, trying to seem not intimidated. So I thought it worked.
I think they're going to put on some awesome matches.
So she's trying to put on that brave front, that brave tough front to Julia. So I think knowing she's probably getting her ass whipped, but I didn't think that was weird at all. I thought, she has to be that.
Looked a little odd to me is all. NXT champion, all ego Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry with special guest referee
that
Trick Williams, and of course, I don't know if you looked in the front row. There was a sign that said, "Oh yeah, I like it."
That was I noticed it when they had it when they first came on, and the dude, I can't remember his name.
Vic Joseph
was out there, introducing the show,
and then Booker T walked over.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I can remember a special guest referee preventing a 3 count from another referee.
Because he's the original referee, and he wanted to make the counts the way they explained it on the commentary.
I know.
I don't think I've ever seen a referee with a shirt open either, but
yeah, I don't think I have either.
Sean rolled it up, But
yes, yeah. Well, he put the little tie in it.
Yeah.
What did you think of this match? Obviously, Ethan Page maintains the championship.
And I knew, like we said, once Zachary Wentz won, I knew Hendry wasn't going home with it.
Right.
For what it was, I'd give it a B.
I think that when you see Joe Hendry, the one spot where his entire sports entertainment package is lacking is still on the wrestling side. He's good, but he's not super smooth in there. And again, I think this goes to the people that get to work at the Performance Center on a daily basis versus those that have just started working at the Performance Center to increase their
reps.
Yeah. And I don't even know if it's rust. I just think that it's
no, I said the reps. They get the reps in.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. You're just not getting to do the same thing over and over again until it's rinse, repeat, and perfect. And you see that from almost like Ethan Page still has that. He's had 6 matches since he got to NXT. So he is coming into his own as the NXT champion, though. It's I'm not going to say it's growing on me to the point where I like him as NXT champion. But obviously, with him being a heel, I'm not supposed to like him being.
I don't remember. Did they come up with the stipulation as long as he has that belt, Trick can't go for it anymore? Did they do that?
No.
Okay. So I wonder, Trick, did he get his rematch?
He did not get a rematch.
Right now they got him with Pete Dunne, so I'm wondering who they're gonna put against Ethan now.
It's going to be interesting. I think that you're probably going to end up seeing it be a 3-way. I think it is going to still be I think it is still going to be Trick, but I think it's going to be Trick, Pete Dunne, and Ethan. That way, Ethan can continue not eating pins even if he loses. To Michael Turner. Michael Turner just asked a question out there.
I saw that today.
I didn't hear anything about this. So what are you hearing?
I just heard that he's no longer on the active roster nor on the alumni. So I don't know why. I'm just trying to figure out what happened.
I mean, we just saw that WWE's own website left off a match out of the results on their card, which could easily have been said was the best match of the night. Because I do think the tag team match was the best match of the night. So if you want, you can look that up a little bit. We obviously got Pete Dunne to show up. If I had to say something that I didn't really like about this PLE, I don't know if they announced attendance at it, which, it was in Denver, Colorado. It should have been something. It looked like it was a pretty packed house. Obviously, they've got the same building tonight for Raw. But I didn't like that 3 of the 5 matches had interference of some sort. Like the Julia one makes sense, but all the other interferences, even if they were after the matches, it just seemed like they kept going to the same well. So I don't know. You might agree or disagree with me on that. Mm-hmm. I just felt like you could have saved some of that for Tuesday night. Like have Trick come out sitting there saying that he now deserves his rematch, blah blah blah, and then Pete Dunne attacks him instead. I think that would have done better than having it at the end of this.
I think because they had already started the Pete Dunne and Trick thing before, and at the end of, was it NXT? Or it's end of something, and Pete said you might not even make it to. He threatened him before, so we figured he was coming out at the PLE. So I mean, they set it up.
Wouldn't it have been funny if Pete Dunne was the one wearing the referee jersey, running down to the ring to make the count?
That'd been hysterical.
See, that's the kind of interference that I would have actually been more excited about seeing. So that was your NXT stuff. We got. I don't know, 4 weeks until NXT shows up on CW. I don't think there's another PLE between now and then. And I think that they're doing that as one of their special 2-week events, which is why they're doing night 1 in Chicago with CM Punk going to be a special guest, and then the next week in St. Louis where they have Randy Orton as a special guest, which would be cool to see them on NXT television. And obviously it's to make sure that, because those are names that actually do bring eyes to the TV set, that people will be interested to see how the CW broadcast actually goes with WWE. It'd be interesting as well, because a lot of times when WWE changes networks with a show, they also change production in some cases. So you'll see different camera angles, or you'll see different lighting, or you'll see something different like that. Sets. Yeah. So I have a feeling that you will see different sets for NXT, because I want to say that
probably SmackDown too, because they're coming to USA, and then probably Raw when they go to Netflix. So I think they're going to refresh everything, probably, which is Triple H's time now. So that'd be a perfect time to refresh it. And hey.
Well, apparently Monday Night Raw decided to go into the refresh stage a little bit early, because Joe Tessitore made his debut as the play-by-play guy on Monday Night Raw. So, and they announced that at Bash in Berlin that they were going to be doing that. So, I haven't watched any of Raw yet, but Joe Tess knows his stuff when he goes in fully prepared. So it'll be interesting to see if he can make the transition like Amaro Ranello did when they came in. I'm a little surprised that
they got him with Wade, and they're moving Cole to SmackDown with
Corey Graves.
I'm like, why?
Well, so USA, I think specifically asked for Michael Cole on SmackDown. I don't know. When you're a football commentator, you obviously are known to have 3-hour broadcasts. So maybe
what happens when and he will when McAfee comes back. So it'll be, where are they gonna put McAfee?
I would assume McAfee will go back to Cole. Like it just makes sense.
And move Graves, and then where's Graves go?
You go to a 3-man booth. Either because Graves and McAfee have a pretty good rapport too. They give that we don't like each other at all feel very well. But who knows? Corey Graves got cleared to wrestle. Maybe he goes back into the wrestling pool. You don't know. So anything's a possibility there. Let's look at Bash in Berlin results.
Before that, we gotta say I'm not doing 10 seconds but Sid.
Oh yes, Sid Udy passed away. I can at least give a banner for him. So, man, when you got multiple screens, your mouse doesn't always like to go to the right screen in the right way. So, yes, R.I.P. Sid. So Sid, rest in peace. If you don't want to do the 10 seconds, we don't have to do the 10 seconds. I was impressed with how many people had really good things to say about Sid, because I don't remember anybody ever talking about Sid in a good way when he wrestled. But then hearing all these wrestlers actually talk about how like Sid would let them stay on his couch and things like that so that they could actually save a couple bucks, or if they didn't have a place to stay, like he actually would take care of people like that. And how he actually helped different people get into the industry and help them with in a lot of ways that was kind of shocking to see. I am disappointed to see that Sid's not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
He probably will be now.
I would think that they do like to put one posthumous person in there, so I do think that's a possibility. It's interesting that him, Vader, I don't think Bam Bam Bigelow's in the Hall of Fame, so I mean there are still some pretty giant names.
Out of all of them, I'm surprised Vader. Bam Bam, but Vader.
Yeah, Vader was a 3-time WWF champion.
Yeah.
It's sad, but this was sad to hear because it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like,
well, I told you I didn't know he was sick because he passed from cancer. I guess he'd been fighting cancer for a couple of years. I had no idea.
Yeah, and apparently like certain people had actually reached out and talked to him like last month, and he was in good spirits. So it's sad to see, like it always is. He was usually 64 years old.
Usually right before you, like when you're sick, then right before you go, it's better. It's like you kick out, and then it's like, because that happened because my dad passed of cancer, and that's what it was. Like one day he was like real sitting, and I went and saw him one day. He's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay, you might be okay. And then they called me the next day.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it always reminds me of Ultimate Warrior. How, it was like WrestleMania weekend, and he looked like he was in great spirits and everything. And then all of a sudden, like he got to the hotel, he said, I'm going to go lay down, and just never woke up, like.
No, he didn't lay down. They were leaving. They were going to the car. He had
that's right. That's right. He was like, I don't feel well. Yeah. That's right. It's crazy too, because it's people that we obviously got to watch as wrestling fans. Like Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious, Sid Justice. How many other names? Just Sid. He had
Sid, because he was. I remember when the original Skyscrapers. You remember that?
Yeah.
So, rest in peace, Sid.
Yes, rest in peace, Sid. Now we can talk about Bash in Berlin.
Yeah, you have to get something to drink. My throat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm listening.
No, you're fine. I was just pulling up the card of and actual matches. The first match of the night was Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. As I mentioned, exactly how I expected that to play out. I was a little shocked to see that there was no turn we started to get the mentality of evil Kevin Owens, and then he just kept backing off from it. And even after the match, when Cody ended up getting the victory, Kevin held his hand up. Then Cody tried to hold his hand up, and I thought the turn was coming during that. I think everybody did, because they did that full spin around, and basically looking at all four sides of the audience. So I assumed that when Cody went to raise his hand, he was going to take a kick to the stomach and a finisher.
Well, I thought he was going to. I thought I can't talk loud. I thought he was going to turn because they're like, I guess Friday when he left the ring, he whispered something to Cody, and they said they found out what he whispered. He's like, "Just remember, you asked for this." So that's why I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. I did like how Kevin Owens actually yelled at Michael Cole, who's like, "Why aren't you trying to get the win?" And he's like, "Shut up, Cole."
That was funny.
So I liked that. I actually liked that we didn't get the turn, because now obviously I think we're gonna have Randy Orton come back to SmackDown, so we might actually see something between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, and something where like Randy sits there and says something to Kevin, and then Randy's the one that turns instead. I could see something like that happening.
You there?
Oh, Michael said he only got 2 matches of the NXT card right. I think I got 4 of them right.
I think I might be with Michael.
Yeah.
That's rare. I usually get more than that.
Now you actually did say Kevin Owens to win this match, so obviously that didn't happen. We got Cody Rhodes, and I do want to talk about Cody Rhodes at the press conference afterwards, but we can do that after we talk about the rest of the card. Women's tag team match, you got this one right. I think I went with you on the answer there. Just although I wanted Alba Fire, and
I don't think so. I thought you were.
No, I think you're right. I originally said I was taking Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, because I wanted to start seeing the other two actually start having singles matches again. Michael said he only got 2 bash matches right. CM Punk defeated Drew McIntyre. We both agreed on that one. And CM Punk got bloody.
I was wondering if they were going to do, and they did. That's my favorite part of a strap match.
When the one guy's on the other guy's back and hitting them, yeah, following him around, yeah. I think that's everybody's favorite. I would have preferred if they actually had little screen things up instead of the big red and green lights, because to me, if you have a green and a red light, it means yes and no. And obviously the red light was for Drew and the green light was for Punk, but there's no reason why those different color lights even mattered. You know what I mean?
It did too, like, okay, to make it obvious, okay.
Yeah.
Blue, red.
Yes,
Punk,
exactly.
Green, yay.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. They definitely had that, and that might be because of the language barrier on that. I don't know. This was the second match of the night, though, that they exploited the finishers of the wrestlers. Like, Cody had to go through 4 or 5 crossroads to beat Kevin Owens.
And I think, CM Punk had to do at least 3.
At least 3.
He didn't have to. I think he did that last one just as a fuck you.
Yeah, probably.
And took the thing off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Something else I noticed in that match. There's one part of the match where Drew and CM Punk are throwing hands, and Punk straps on the ground. The referee had to pick it up and hand it to him. Like,
yeah, multiple times during the match, the strap fell off of him.
So I was like, I only noticed it that once.
And the strap was 13 feet long. So you're talking about guys that have wingspans of 6 feet each in a 20 by 20 ring, and they have a 13-foot strap. Like, they could have literally touched all 4 corners by just walking around and having one guy stand in the other corner, which is a little ridiculous. Like maybe make it like an 8-foot strap. I know why they do it. It's because if one guy goes out of the ring, they want to make sure that there's enough space between them so that the other guy doesn't get hurt while the other guy or strangled or dangled or whatever.
Was it 13-foot strap?
Yeah, 13-foot strap.
God.
Yeah. But CM Punk got his win after the match, and I guess backstage. I think it was probably during the press conference stuff. He wasn't interviewed during the press conference, but he was interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and he said he's done with Drew now. And I think now that he got the bracelet back and a strap match is kind of like a feud ending match. So I'm okay with that. The one thing that I've heard that people are making fun of when it comes to the strap match is the fact that like it's supposed to be a violent match, right? And yet you don't win by pinfall submission or knocking your guy out. You win by tapping four corners.
I think, but that's kind of like a submissions last night. You beat your opponent so bad that you're able to get the. I think you know what I mean. So
yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I think too these strap matches that we're having now are watered down. Back in the day when my man Dusty was having a strap match, oh, you getting fucked up. He's going to hit you with the buckle and the forehead. It's going to be blood. So
well,
I think that's part of it.
They used to do the cowbell matches where it was strapped with cowbell.
Now in this era that we're in, I just don't think they can do it like that anymore. You know what I mean? So it does kind of water it down.
So Michael just said that CM Punk and Drew will still go and it's not over. I think you're right, Michael, but I don't think this is going to be one where they necessarily have a match at the next PLE. But I could see Punk being in a match and Drew costing him the match, like a number one contenders match or something.
I don't even think that. I can see this being a long, drawn out, stone cold rot. Like they'll go other places and other people, and then they might come back and meet again. You know what I mean? And they might. So it might. You're right. I think it'll still go on. I just don't think it'll go on consecutively. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I don't think either. Like I don't think like either of them may talk about the other person tonight, but it's not going to be their focus tonight.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to sit there and say that they're going after the world championship again now instead, or something along those lines. Next match up, we had the mixed tag team match. You got this one right. You said Damian and Rhea. I said that they were Teflon. They didn't need the win. They didn't need the win, but they got the win, and they made New Judgment Day look very weak in the process.
How do you figure?
I mean, they all attacked them. They still got the win.
I don't think they look weak. I think it's a comeuppance. I mean, how many times did they get jumped? You say look weak. I say it's comeuppance. How many times did they get jumped? This is their final. They finally got back. You know what I'm saying? They jumped Rhea. They jumped Drew. I'm not Drew. I keep calling the Undertaker. Damian. They jumped him a couple of times before this PLE. So this is get my lip back. So I don't think it made him. I think that's what it was. I don't think it was making Judgment Day look weak.
Okay. You know, I don't think it can be said enough how much these crowds overseas are so good for business.
Oh my god!
Like,
oh my god!
Like them yelling "Eins, zwei, no."
Nicole's part German, so I actually understood what they were saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought it was cool that they had the German announcer come in to announce the attendance record. I thought that was super cool. Unfortunately, they need to have like a way to translate that for everybody else.
The closed captions, but it didn't do it, and I almost called Nicole and like, Nicole, what is he saying?
Yeah. So, but I mean, there, you know, and the overseas business is good for everybody right now. Obviously, AEW just had 51,000 fans in attendance at All In, you know, and it's got AEW now sitting there talking about possibly doing a European tour, which I think they should. I think that more people in the crowds over there would probably bring more people to the crowds over here. I think you're seeing that with WWE. They said it was their 55th sellout this year.
I think it's good for all of them. I think Impact should do it too if they can.
Well, Impact actually used to do it.
Yeah, but
you know,
had to do it. Yeah, that's right, they did.
Yeah, because they used to do it, and they would get like 10,000 people in the stands, and it'd be like, wow, that's impressive for them only knowing AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, or Kurt Angle as well. But you know what I mean.
Michael Turner said we'll talk about that next week. I know something about the Punk and Drew feud, which means he probably caught some of Raw.
Oh yeah, probably. Final match of the night. Gunther retains the title against Randy Orton. I think we both saw that coming. I think we both called Gunther holds the title. Hell of a match.
Yes.
The Ring General. And you know what? Ludwig Kaiser actually taking Samantha Irvin's microphone the Paul Heyman way was awesome. And him introducing the Ring General in German, I thought was great.
Yes. Why not?
No, absolutely.
That made and he was over it. I mean, they cheered him and booed Randy, but
it was interesting because did you hear what name they were cheering?
Were they saying Walter?
Yeah, they were saying Walter. Now, granted, I think it changed, but and you did hear the crowd sitting there chanting for Randy too.
Yeah, but and you're right. But then when they got when they're in the middle of the ring, when they always do the boo yay, it was boo Randy yay Gunther.
Yeah, he was definitely played the baby face for the first time in his WWE tenure, and
he's been a champion. What they say, 75% of the time he's been in WWE.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Well, interestingly enough, he has a 97% winning percentage since being in the WWE. He's literally lost 3 matches clean. Pretty insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
So 97% of his matches. So when we actually talk about 50-50 booking, we're not talking about him.
No.
he's getting Roman treatment, so
he should. I think they need a strong heel for people to chase, and I think Gunther's it.
Well,
if they change him face,
he doesn't look like a baby face.
No.
If they were to go, if I could see him the way that Bret Hart was looked at in the early 90s, where he was heel in the US and babyface everywhere else. I could see that with Gunther, just because obviously the crowds are different overseas, so it would also be something where he could just say he's the world champion, and screw the Americans, or whatever. Like I said, hell of a match. Randy putting him over for the second time this year really shows how selfless Randy is. He made Gunther look strong by being choked out by him. I don't remember the last time Randy Orton submitted to anybody.
That's the thing that he submit though.
No,
I had a problem. I had a problem with them saying that he submitted or he gave up. He passed out. He didn't tap. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I had a problem with that. If
the referee called for the bell.
Yeah, but they said, Randy gave up or Randy submitted. I'm like, no, he didn't. He was unconscious. That was the only problem I had with it. And that's something small and picky, but
To Michael's question, how long before we actually see Gunther and Roman? I think that to your question there, Michael, they're being kept apart on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They're on separate brands for a reason. I think that's why Cody's on the other brand, because otherwise you would feel like you have to go Cody Gunther almost immediately.
Has Brock met Gunther yet? I don't remember.
Has what?
Brock and Gunther. Has that happened?
No, that was supposed to be WrestleMania this year before the Vince McMahon allegations came up. So that's why that didn't happen. So yeah, it's an interesting one there. But I think they're keeping them apart on purpose. But if they keep booking Gunther the way that they are, when Roman's finally done with this bloodline stuff, I mean, that's the biggest baby face in the business right now versus the biggest heel, if you want to do it that way. Because, I mean, Roman's going to continue to be over after this bloodline thing. I think that you're almost at the point where you've got to figure out a way to get Roman and Cody off the same program, too.
I think Cody, and even though he's not Russian, I think Cody and Gunther would get that Rocky drive.
Yeah. I totally agree. All right, so those are the matches there. Triple H actually wasn't able to attend the press conference afterwards. So Cody Rhodes started the press conference and actually gave all the attendance numbers and everything and said this is the highest gate of all time for a PLE, not named WrestleMania, which is pretty crazy. Sold out the building again. So it's the third time this year they've actually gotten to say a non-stadium show that they've sold out, became the number one like PLE that they've done ever. So pretty interesting statistic there. Cody Rhodes got asked about the Vince McMahon documentary that's getting ready to come out on Netflix, and the guy actually started asking about Janelle Grant, and Cody was like, I don't think I have enough information to be able to give an opinion one way or another. So great answer. And he's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to give you a BS answer, but I really don't have enough information because I don't pay attention to it. I don't think, and the other part of the question was, we haven't heard anything from any of the wrestlers speaking about it. And he was like, I think that the wrestlers want to give you the product that you saw out there. They don't want to talk about any of the other possible stuff that could be negative in the eyes of pro wrestling fans. So of course,
very
corporate,
corporate.
Yeah. But you know, he got asked he got asked about the possibility of Kevin turning on him, and he said, I want to tell everybody this right now. Kevin's one of my closest friends actually in the business. Because of that, like I have no issues with him. And I think that what you got was a really good wrestling match tonight. You didn't get a turn. We don't always have to turn on each other just because everyone's telling us we need to or anything like that. So and then the same person that asked about Kevin also said, well, what about Randy? And he goes, guys, Randy really is one of my closest friends in the world. So a lot would have to happen for us to get to the point where we're facing each other and it's like a blood feud. And he's right. Right now I think Cody's world title might not even be on the next PLE because well, I guess I can't say that because he's been in all the advertisements for Bad Blood. So he will be defending his title. I just don't know who. But I think Bad Blood is going to be more about
the bloodline.
I see a Hell in a Cell match at the pay-per-view. So I don't know.
Probably Roman and Solo.
Well, Solo said he's got next against Cody. So don't know. I think we get to
Solo says he has next. Don't mean he's going to get next.
Well, Michael Cole actually did confirm that Solo versus Cody looks like it's going to be the next match for Cody in terms of that. I do think that we're probably going to get more schmozzing though, because I think Roman comes down and gets gets Solo upset at him again. But yeah, so that was the pay-per-view there. Obviously, we don't have enough information about Bad Blood yet because I don't even think it's this month. I think it's next month. Mm. So I think that they're gonna take this time to build SmackDown on USA before they actually jump up to their next PLE. So I mean we got AEW's All Out to make predictions on, but so far, I think there's only like 5 matches announced.
And what I don't even.
Yeah, so here you go. You've got MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Which isn't official, by the way. So they've got it. They don't have it like bold on here. You think Garcia?
Mm-hmm.
They do kind of have to come up with a way for him to win that match, though. I don't think he just wins a straight up wrestling match against MJF. Like, I could see MJF getting himself disqualified in it.
Turner says MJF. Yeah, I can see him because he put Daddy Magic out, too. I see Daddy Magic coming back to help him win that.
Yeah, okay. And maybe even Angelo Parker.
Yeah. After they had their baby yet.
Yeah. Chicago Street Fight, Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander.
You kind of have to let Stat win that one.
Because Willow got to name the stipulation.
That, and she's beat Stat twice.
Okay.
I mean, they could go for a clean sweep, but I kind of think, and with the manager
Stokely.
I think Stokely have his hand in that too.
Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page in a steel cage match.
Now I'm gonna go against my gut, and I'm gonna have to say Hangman, because he's another one. He's yet to beat Swerve. I think there's gonna be a lot of shady shit. I think the Elite's probably gonna come down and have who just booed me? The Elite's gonna have
I think that's saying it was you.
Oh.
You're on an iPad, right? Or your Mac.
MacBook. Yeah, I did, but I didn't do that. Why did it give me thumbs? But yeah, I hate to admit it. I hate to say it, but yeah, I think that Hangman's gonna do something dirty.
You know when I said MJF could get disqualified in his match against Garcia, but we know that that's not going to be a possibility. So I'll go with you on the Garcia. I also like Statlander. The Hangman versus Swerve. Swerve has used underhanded tactics to beat him 2 out of the 3 times that they've actually faced each other. I love that Hangman sat there and said, "You can't beat me on your own," but yet he does have 2 victories against him, and Hangman has 0 against Swerve.
That's to say you can't do it on your own,
right?
That's what he's saying. You had Prince Nana, then you had the other guys helping him
Brian
out.
Cage and Prince Nana, yeah.
And that's what it did.
But it is a different Swerve Strickland now. Like he's gone toe to toe. He beat Samoa Joe. He almost beat Bryan Danielson. The only reason why he didn't beat Bryan Danielson was because of Hangman Page.
And you're right on all that, but I'm still going to Hangman. I'm a Swerve fan, but I just think that they're trying too hard to push Hangman into something, and I think the Elites might have their hand in it, trying to win.
Just so we don't keep giving the same predictions here, I will go with Swerve on this one.
You were going with Swerve before.
Well, I made it sound like it was, didn't I? So yes, I'll go with Swerve. Will Ospreay versus Pac for the International Championship.
Ospreay.
Yeah, I don't see Pac winning this. Although, I guess Wednesday night we could see more of this Moxley group, which, like I told you, I think is actually going to include the current members of the Blackpool Combat Club minus Bryan Danielson. So we could get Moxley helping him out here.
I'm still gonna go with Ospreay because right now in Pac he's got one of the belts, A, and B. I don't know. I might change my mind between now and when is All Out?
All Out is Sunday.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, actually, it might even be Saturday. September 7th.
I'm gonna stick with Ospreay.
Yeah, I'm going with Ospreay as well. I think Ospreay's taken too many losses recently, to Swerve and to MJF, that I think he needs this win. Unfortunately, I think Pac needs this win too. I just don't think he's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually see Ricochet coming down and causing some commotion with Pac, because Pac interrupted the Ricochet showdown with Ospreay. So I could actually see this turning into a 3-way dance of some sort.
I forgot about that.
Further down the road.
Yes,
TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida.
They got their heads up Mercedes' ass, and she's in with the young fucks, so I don't see her losing that belt yet either.
Yeah, I agree. Although I was thinking that no, I was almost thinking that the I can't remember what her name is, but the Asian girl that's with Mariah May.
Yeah.
I was thinking that she might get involved somehow, but again, I don't want to see interaction, like interruptions in the matches in every match.
Michael Turner said no comment.
I guess possibility of Jon Moxley and Darby Allin.
Yeah. Which, why Darby? That's so weird. I hope they why would he come out and call out Darby Allin of all people?
I don't know.
So it makes me think they're wanting to do something with Darby.
Well, the problem here is that Darby just lost his match against Jack Perry. So if you have him go up against Jon Moxley right now, I think that Jon Moxley has to establish that he's coming back and he's not going to lose matches at the beginning of this comeback, especially with like this mystery partner thing that he might have. Right? So if they do this match, I don't think Moxley loses. AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry. I think we both agree Bryan Danielson's going to win the match, but as I already said, in Chicago, it's the perfect heel for him. Because I mean, he's going to get booed out of Chicago. The only way he doesn't is if there's no one in the stands, which is possible.
Yeah.
I'm looking at their card real quick to see if there's anything else that's possible on this. Pac earned his opportunity a while back. Stared longingly at Ricochet. Blah blah blah.
Longingly.
That's what the article said.
Oh, Ricochet.
So we think that people could show up during the Garcia match. The Young Bucks may get a championship match at the pay-per-view. If they do, who knows who it would be against. Okada with his Continental Championship should be somewhere on the card. Right now isn't. Hook versus Roderick Strong could be on this. If they do that, who do you got?
Hook. He just got it back.
Yeah, I don't see Hot Potato on the title, but obviously the Undisputed Kingdom going up against Hook versus just Roderick Strong going up against Hook does give him an advantage of.
But my man still hadn't gotten back yet.
Adam Cole,
Joe.
Oh, yeah, and I could see since Joe helped out the Undisputed Kingdom that he comes in.
Oh, when he left, remember it was Hook, it was
yeah. Kaneshka.
Yeah, they were all together. So that's something he'll come back to help Hook.
Yeah. The possibility of Saraya versus Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter whoops that ass.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much it on that. At least based on what they've given us so far. So, Victoria, just so you know, is now under a Legends contract with the WWE. So I think we might finally get a Victoria in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. I wonder if her not being under Legends contract was the reason why they weren't putting her in, and they were finding other people to put in before her. So hopefully that helps her get in there. Obviously the Netflix documentary on Vince McMahon's coming out pretty soon. It claims that it has it had the approval of WWE when they first announced it, with Vince McMahon being interviewed, Johnny Ace being interviewed, all the people being interviewed, and then all the Janelle Grant stuff came out. So they didn't put it out when they were originally going to put it out, and now it's supposed to include stuff from after that too.
Yeah. Hey, I just put something in hold on, in the comments. Don't forget. Oh shit! Don't forget about that.
Yes. So, what is it?
Remember,
Gaze.
It was up top. It was that.
Yeah. No. I gazed forever. Gazed are forever.
Just darn.
Anyways, if you're still in the audience and you wanted to ask the question about comic book writing, go ahead. You are up, my friend. Because yes, I do remember you saying that you had a question about comic book writing.
And I just saw you put the thing up before we end. I don't want to give him a chance to ask this question.
Absolutely. And you know, we're obviously not too late in the night at this point on the show. We're actually well before 10 o'clock at the moment. Now, granted, I did start it at 8:20 tonight instead of 8:45, so still about an hour and 20 minutes into doing the show. I just didn't think there was a lot else that went on this week.
No, not really.
That we hadn't already talked about on the shows.
Yeah. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, if you're not still there and you end up watching this after the fact, my book on Amazon actually does give some insight about comic book writing, what to expect. How, you know, if it's about like how to draft the scripts, there's always things out there that you can actually go onto online to actually see how different.
What the hell?
Game Zone Doctor Forever. Okay.
Gotcha.
So what was your question about comic book writing? Since we know you're still in the audience now.
Game Zone Doctor Forever. Like it.
Or we don't have to discuss it tonight. I don't know how much of a delay Twitch has, so want to thank everybody that gave us some light out there. As a writer, you become a gatekeeper for telling stories of marginalized people. How important is it to have diverse characters as you storyboard versus a focused story led by European faces? It's a good question. I think that in today's comic books, you actually have to have some diversity of your characters in there, but not just diversity of color or religion or anything like that, but diversity of thought in your characters as well. When I was writing Junior High Horrors, I noticed that all the characters in the first issue that were going to be like lead characters in it were all white, but part of the problem with that was that the character designs were based on the character designs of your favorite horror characters and horror movie characters, and predominantly those characters were all white. So we had to look, you know, I had to look out there and go, oh, I can use a Candyman style character, and you know, maybe if I kept going, I would have used a character from like Ringu or whatever, which would have actually allowed for more people to feel like that they can be involved in the audiences. At the same time, if I go back and I look at like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's process behind it, I mean, here you had two Jewish immigrants making comic books, and they created the X-Men, who were all white characters that everybody of all walks of life actually felt like they could understand and be close to, because anybody that felt like they were ostracized in any one way, shape, or form were able to take all of that, and it didn't matter the color of their skin because they were different. So it's really how you look at that. Now, if you look at X-Men, it also became probably the most diverse comic book out there when Chris Claremont took it over, because suddenly you had an African goddess, a German devil preacher, a Russian, an American, you know, the list goes on and on. When you actually take a look at like what he did, he made it the most diverse cast out there. And it was one of those things where you know, it became even more inclusive. At the same time, I don't think it's always necessary to have that if you're not trying to write about that stuff. Like the reason why I wrote about junior high kids was because I didn't want to deal with all the stuff that happened in high school. You know, like when people start getting mean or they start having to really learn about sex and things like that. I didn't want to deal with any of that stuff in there. One of the things that I try very hard not to do is write about anything political in my books. And the reason why I don't talk about anything political is because my political view shouldn't be something that influences you one way or another. I'm not a politician. I'm not a press secretary for a politician. So I'm not trying to have you look at that stuff. And this weekend when I was at the convention I was at, someone actually asked me about like the political writing in comic books, because the guy I was sitting next to, Daryl Murphy, is going to be speaking at a historical Black college about comic books. And like I was like, man, I'd really like to be in on that panel, but like I don't know how my opinion matters at a historically Black university about that stuff. But I always looked at it as, I read comics to get away from that stuff. I look at it as an avenue of escape. So if all of a sudden I'm reading about political stuff in comic books, I feel like I'm not getting away from the stuff that I don't like in the world as it is today. So I try to get as far away from it as possible by reading comic books. Now, are there political agendas in certain things? Yes. Do I read those books? Probably not. Like, one of the things you like about things like Hellboy is the fact that it's really not about politics at all, or it's not about the color of characters' skins. It's about a demon detective, and it's kind of cool. So I don't know if that helped with your question out there, Game Zone, but it's, to me, comic books are supposed to be a release, and they're supposed to keep you away from stuff that is out there, because you're supposed to put yourself into an imaginary world. And if the imaginary world has all the same real world problems that your world does, then you're not getting away from any of it. Yeah. What's your opinion on it, Tino? I know that obviously you don't write comic books, but
I pretty much agree with you. I agree with what you said with base. I mean, I read comic books to try to A, get away, and B, it is cool to see someone that looks like you or represents you. I can see that aspect of it too, but it's not necessarily. I didn't know that about the X-Men. So and it's right. The core part of that is you can find somebody you can identify with and understand in a comic. So yeah, I'm on board with you. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I mean that's always been the way it's been for me with comics. I know that there are writers out there that write their politics into their comics. I know that there's artists that sit there and hide political things in their artwork, and it's I kind of look at it the same way that Michael Jordan used to look at it, which is, and here's how he said it. He got asked why he never endorses a specific politician for office, and he said because people that are on the other side of that political debate also buy my sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was always about to him. So I mean, that's the cut and dry, I want to make sales portion of it. But I mean, again, when Stan and Jack created the X-Men, they weren't thinking about, oh, these are Black characters or white characters. They were just different characters, and they were different than the other people. And that's why when you got behind it, it didn't matter if you were Black, white, Indian, Asian, Mexican, whatever. You got behind them because they were different and you wanted to root for them, and you felt different. So that's why you did it. If you look at the junior high horrors kids, one of the things that a parent actually said to me was that his child who was getting ready to go into high school felt different and didn't feel like they got along with anybody. They started reading my comic and they saw how these kids were getting through hard situations. So it resonated with them to where she ended up joining the volleyball team and ended up doing all this other stuff. And before you know it, she had a bunch of friends, and so she didn't feel left out anymore. So I like I said, I hope that gives you some insight as to my approach on it as a writer, while also making sure that you're not alienating any of the potential audiences.
I think too, and you write comics, I write songs, and I do it for the same reason. I do it off of life experiences, or try to write about something that everybody's gone through, or at least something that everybody can relate to. So I think it's the same thing.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at Taylor Swift's albums. Everybody always says that she writes a new album every time she breaks up with somebody, right? And you typically get that feeling out of the music because you've been through it. I was watching the movie Fall Guy today, right? The one with Ryan Gosling in
I
it.
want to watch it. There were so many differences in that movie. It's not even. They said it's loosely based on the TV show, which kind of upset me because I love that show.
So and you know what? It's really not based on the TV show at all. But the funny thing about it is that at the beginning, he he hasn't seen the main female character that he was dating at the beginning of the movie. He hasn't seen her in like a year, and so she's giving him shit about all of that, and so he's sitting there just like taking the shit because he's like, no, I still care about her. I'm just, I went through a really rough time. Like, I can't tell her that, because I'm a manly man. I'm not the Fall Guy. Like, his whole thing is that he always gives the thumbs up after the stunt's done, and she's like, I really hate that macho bullshit thumbs up thing. So he had to explain it later on in the movie that, he doesn't want to be the thumbs down guy. But at one point he's in a car and he's just like staring off at her, and the music playing is a Taylor Swift song about a breakup, and he's got tears in his eyes and everything. He's getting ready to cry about it, and she knocks on the window and she's like, "Are you crying?"
Nice.
But again, like, even in that, it resonated with the character because of it. Funny movie. I really enjoyed it, and if you stay,
I looked at it's like over 2 hours, so I'm gonna get it to where I can. I'm not doped up on cold medicine and fall asleep on it.
If you stay up and watch the entire thing all the way through the credits,
I saw they had cameos.
Yeah, I think that you'll really like the cameos in it. So yeah, it's I don't know. I wanted to see it in the theater. The one time I actually did try to go to the theater for it, the air conditioning was out in the theater.
Oh fuck.
So I got up and I was like, the air conditioning's out. And they're like, "Oh, are you on the right side of the building or on the left side of the building?" I'm like, "On the right side." And they're like, "Yeah, the air conditioning's out in all those theaters." So I was like, "You guys could have told me that before I bought a ticket."
To get my money back.
So they gave me a free pass. They gave me a free popcorn, a free soda, everything that I had bought. They gave me one of each, right? Well, that was a $5 movie day ticket, and then I took it and I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine in IMAX at the other theater using the ticket. It was a $20 ticket.
The same night you just walked across?
No. It was months later, but they gave me the pass, so I just, but yeah, I used it to go see that movie in IMAX instead. I was like, I'll really get my money's worth out of this now.
It had free popcorn and soda and a free movie. That's awesome.
Yeah, in IMAX, and it was IMAX 3D, so it was like I said, it was a $20 ticket versus the $5 ticket that I originally had. So anyway, you got anything going on this week? Matthew's first football game, you said?
No, it's not his first. It'll be his third.
Third of this season?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So other than that, no, I don't have anything. I don't play this weekend, thank goodness, because I'm hoping I'll be done with this, because next weekend is when I go back to Hickory. So I'm trying to get as much rest and pop all this cold medicine, trying to kick out of this and, shake this before then.
Well, let me know if you want to come over for Saturday for All Out.
Oh, we have to work on magic again.
Yeah. One of the 18 different methods to get it to work. I'm sure we can get it to work.
The last one worked pretty good, so
yes, and that's probably what I'll do this time as well. But yeah, folks, I've got nothing else. I appreciate your all taking your time with us tonight. Michael, Game Zone, Helios, the whole crew that's been out there tonight. And Tino made it through the whole episode.
Thanks, Michael. I didn't think I was going to, but I'm definitely going to crash now. I can feel my eyelids like that NyQuil's kicking in.
Yeah, I'm probably going to try to blast through Monday Night Raw tonight, and see.
I'm not even going to pretend. I'll watch it tomorrow.
Recently, like when we get off of here, I stay up for like the first hour and a half of it, and then I'm like, no, I got to go to bed. So
I try, but yeah.
But thanks everybody. Thank you, Game Zone. Appreciate it. Like I said, if you haven't already, liked our pages or whatever, so that you can be here with us every week. We'd love to have more people in the audience. We do this every Monday night at normally 8:30 to 8:45. Do it for about 2 hours. And then you guys might start seeing me either Twitch streaming or TikTok game streaming here shortly as well. Tino, you want to go through your what?
Now that you made the money, you're gonna start doing it more.
Yeah, just gotta find time to do it. Go ahead and give a rundown, Tino.
I got on X, Twitter, it's HootieFan91. Snapchat and Insta, I'm SC Tino. On TikTok, you can find me at Tino All Great Music. On X, we're Potsy and Tino. Facebook, we're the Potsy and Tino Show. We're here each and every week on the Pots and Pans Network. Please like, subscribe, buy our shit.
Theme songs by Adam's House Cats called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for
99 Jones.
99 Jones, 99 cents. You can catch me on Twitter at Potcheck. You can catch me on Instagram at Rob Potcheck and Rob Potsy Potcheck. On Twitch, I am Rob Potsy Potcheck. TikTok, I am Rob Potsy Potcheck, I believe. Yes, TikTok, I am Rob Potsy Potcheck. I make money there now, so I gotta know what I am there. And of course, here on YouTube at Rob Potcheck. So, folks, thanks so much. We are out of here tonight. I am going to go up and cue some music for our outro, and we will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Deuces.
Everybody wants to be the nature boy, but I am the man of the hour, the tower of power.